A baby orca can stay by its mother's side for over a decade, sometimes even longer, sometimes for its entire life. That's an incredibly long childhood for an animal in the ocean. Most marine animals are on their own within weeks or months of being born. Orca calves get years, and a huge part of that time is spent doing one very specific thing: learning how to kill. This isn't instinct kicking in on its own. Researchers who study orcapods have found that hunting in this species is mostly a taught skill, not something a calf is simply born knowing how to do. And once you look at how that teaching actually happens, it becomes clear why it takes so long and why it's such a careful, deliberate process. Let's start with the basic problem orca calves face. A newborn orca can swim within hours of being born. But swimming and hunting are two completely different skills. Many of the animals orcas prey on, like seals, sea lions and even other whales, are strong, fast and capable of seriously injuring an inexperienced attacker. A young orca throwing itself into a hunt with no training would likely fail constantly and could easily get hurt in the process. So instead of leaving calves to figure it out through trial and error, adult orcas, especially mothers, take an active role in teaching. One of the clearest examples of this teaching process involves live prey. In several documented cases, adult orcas have been observed catching prey, only partially disabling it rather than killing it outright, and then pushing it toward a nearby calf. The calf gets the chance to practice attacking something that's still alive and reacting, but weakened enough that the risk is far lower than it would be during a real hunt. This happens over and over, sometimes across multiple sessions with the same type of prey, giving the calf repeated hands-on practice before it's ever expected to complete a hunt entirely on its own. This kind of behavior takes real effort from the adult, catching prey and deliberately not finishing the kill just to hand it over for a calf to practice on costs the adult time and energy it could have spent finishing the hunt and eating. That's not something you'd expect from a purely instinct-driven animal. It looks a lot more like a deliberate teaching investment, the kind of behavior you'd associate with animals that raise their young with active guidance rather than animals that just let their offspring figure things out alone. Some of the most extreme examples of this teaching process show up in very specific hunting techniques that are only found in a small number of orca populations around the world. In certain coastal regions, orcas intentionally beach themselves, launching most of their body weight directly onto the sand to grab a seal pup, then using their own strength and an incoming wave to wriggle back into the water. This move is genuinely dangerous. Get the timing wrong, and an orca can end up stranded with no way to get back into the water on its own. Because of that risk, young orcas don't attempt this on their own right away. They spend years watching their mothers do it first and only gradually start attempting smaller, lower-risk versions of the same move themselves, closely supervised the whole time. This technique is only found in a couple of specific places on the planet, and it's passed down entirely through direct teaching within those local populations, not through instinct spread across the whole species. A similar pattern shows up with coordinated group hunting techniques, like generating waves together to knock prey off floating ice, or working as a group to herd and stun a school of fish. These aren't simple one-step actions. They require multiple animals moving in sync, judging timing and positioning correctly, and adjusting based on what the rest of the group is doing. A calf can't just watch this once and understand it. It takes years of repeated exposure plus direct participation in a supporting role before a young orca is trusted and capable enough to take an active part in one of these coordinated hunts. Teaching in orcapods isn't limited to hunting either, and looking at the bigger picture helps explain why this species invests so heavily in it. Calves also learn their pod's specific vocal dialect, the exact pattern of calls used by their family group, by listening to and copying the adults around them over an extended period. This isn't something built into their genetics. It has to be learned the same slow, patient way hunting is learned, through years of close contact with experienced adults. An animal already set up to teach something as complex as a shared language is exactly the kind of animal you'd expect to also invest heavily in teaching something as high stakes as how to hunt safely. So why does an orca's education take this long, when most animals figure out hunting far faster? Part of the answer comes down to how varied and complex orca hunting actually is. A single orca population might need to know several completely different hunting techniques depending on the season and the specific prey available. That's a lot more to learn than a predator that only needs one basic hunting strategy for its entire life. On top of that, orcas are highly social animals with tight family bonds, and calves generally stay close to their mothers for years, regardless of whether they're specifically learning to hunt at any given moment. That extended time together naturally creates the opportunity for this kind of long, gradual teaching process to happen. Put this all together, and orca calves aren't just picking up survival skills passively by tagging along with their pod. They're going through something that looks much closer to an actual apprenticeship, complete with supervised practice on live prey. Years of careful observation before attempting risky techniques themselves, and step-by-step involvement in coordinated hunts that require real teamwork to pull off. It's a slow, careful process built around keeping young orcas safe while they learn skills that could genuinely hurt them if they rushed it. That's really the core of it. Orcas aren't just teaching their babies to kill, they're teaching them to kill safely, patiently, and correctly, in a process that can take the better part of a decade before a young orca is fully ready to hunt entirely on its own.